Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we are going to be carrying on with the exceptional story Codename Sugarplum, and I believe the first thing we're doing is fiddling with the copper cipher ring. Its Byzantine mechanisms will allow you to decrypt different ciphers. The Byzantine correspondent has instructed you on how to take a seed from one encrypted message and apply it to decrypt another. With your deductive skill and the copper cipher ring's convenient code-breaking capability, you just have to spin a few little wheels on the ring, make some elementary calculations, decipher obfuscated text in multiple languages, and the cryptograms will crack like Whitsun eggs. So, we can either take the seed from the biscuit box, and try not to get too many crumbs all over the place, or we can take the seed from the broken stiletto, only to squint to read the miniature inscriptions. Let's start with the biscuit box. First things first, you dust the sugar aside. All these crystals make it difficult to interpret the lines inside the box. Reversed, they mark the time as 3-4. Reflected, they suggest a treble clef. Thankfully, you have enough musical knowledge to recognize tales from the Vienna woods when you see the notes scrambled in code. The requisite leaps in deductive logic come easily after that, and soon you have the seed. Ooh, we can now decrypt the half-burnt missive. Could this letter from the Byzantine correspondent's fireplace yield results? It might have been burnt, yes. You might not be able to extract a seed from this incomplete letter, but you can still apply the seed. You just have to measure the paper's dimensions, which you can estimate, scorched or unscorched, and then divide the width by the height, subtract the weight, and drop the last 2 digits. Interesting. We can make reservations at Dante's Grill. Request a corner table and consider a false mustache and a wig. Well, let's go. On a specific date, at a specific time, and at a very specific table, you sit down by yourself to dinner. You order the lamb chops. Why not? Although the cryptograms you cracked might have been particular about the other details, they didn't define your diet. Of course, the chops are a ruse, just like this wig and mustache. Anyone who glances in your direction will glance right past, taking you for simply another patron. Another patron who happens to have poor hearing, which explains why you also need this ear trumpet. God's sake. We're just sitting at a table with a big trumpet in our ear, listening in on people's conversations. Around the corner, in a private dining room, 2 other patrons are talking in lowered tones. One is a devil with green eyes. You know this because you saw the devil walk into the dining room. But the second patron was already cloistered with a perfectly bloody steak when you arrived. And you know this because he continually compliments the steak. Let's listen to their conversation. It would be too quiet to hear if you didn't have this ear trumpet. Now, there's no mistaking the second voice. It's Mr. Murgatroyd. He continues to flatter the steak, which is also intended to flatter the devil. I know what you're thinking, too low class for your clientele, but we're more the fungal crackers, biscuits, blancmange, and now condiments too. Just imagine Murgatroyd's premium horseradish on every table. No horses or radishes in it, I trust. Mr. Murgatroyd can't promise that. When multiple products are made in the same factory, cross-contamination does happen. The devil can't promise anything either. But Dante's Grill is interested in certain payments the Murgatroyd company would offer to feature new menu items. Unfortunately for you, those payments are named before Mr. Murgatroyd orders dessert. baked Alaska and really torched the meringue. And the conversation shifts to other topics. Assume we go back in here. We have more things to decrypt. Like we can take the seed from the broken stiletto. As it turns out, squinting isn't enough, but squinting through a microscope allows you to perceive the delicate patterns etched into the metal. After some rough calculations and a consultation with a lunar calendar, you distill the information into a number which, when translated into German, provides you with the necessary seed. I could decrypt the missive again, or we could decrypt the message in the biscuit box. Let's do the biscuit box. It would, indeed, be reasonable to assume that someone broke this code first. During your investigation, you discover annotations penned with invisible ink. They practically hold your hand through the decryption, re-encryption, and de-re-encryption process required to arrive at the final analysis. Of course, you double-check all the logic yourself. If this is the renowned mountaineer's handiwork, oh my, the fellow is good. We can go say a prayer at St. Fiacre's, light 9 devotional candles, sit in the 9th pew from the back. That is no sermon tonight. An elderly abbess stroking a black cat smiles and nods sleepily as you light the candles. You sit in the appointed pew and wait. Soon enough, the elderly abbess is snoring. The cat loses interest, leaps down from her lap, saunters away. You continue to wait, still fiddling with the copper cipher ring. Minutes pass. 30, 40, more. Right when you're about to doubt your own calculations, church bells toll the hour. 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock precisely, the elderly abbess stops snoring. Then she starts again. Quick snores, long snores, snores that match the Hamburg alphabet. You record each snore's duration, feeding the information into the copper cipher ring. When you finally decrypt the message, it's a single word. Confess. We can visit the confessional. One booth just so happens to have a little dog carved above the door. Inside the confessional, you await your confessor. More minutes pass. Not so many minutes as before. At last, the grille slides open. The elderly abbess is sitting on the other side. You know just what to say, having decrypted your most recent sins from the biscuit box earlier. He listens carefully. "I must beg your forgiveness," she replies, which isn't usually how this works. Only death is a suitable penance. He doesn't seem so elderly either. "It's my duty to deliver yours." "Oh, are we about to be attacked by an abbess?" "Oh, for God's sake. What is it with this thing and everyone trying to kill me?" You hear the confessional door suddenly lock. You're trapped inside, and something trickles down your neck. Communion wine. Gallons. Enough to fill barrels. Enough to fill bathtubs. Enough to fill this booth until you drown. It's being pumped through a hidden pipe in the ceiling. Your assassin takes one last look through the grill and slams it again with a parting amen, plunging you into darkness. We have 3 options here. We can shout for help. St. Fiacre's is practically empty tonight. Will anyone even hear you? We could break down the door. You've escaped New Newgate. You can escape this. Or we can simply relax and breathe. Changes have been worked upon your body at the Gant pole. Put them to the test. Now this was when we got water breathing from the red science, right? Well, we've got to do that option. Wine, water, What's the difference? This is a church, after all. Hours later, when an alarmed priest finally pries open the door, the first thing he sees, after he recovers, sopping from the resulting cascade, is you still sitting inside, with your legs crossed in a meditative posture. Grey fields leaks from your nose as you exhale. You find the real elderly abbess slumped in a courtyard behind the cathedral. She's not snoring now, and judging by these lacerations, she won't snore again. Whoever got to her, they did it before you even arrived to light the candles. On the plus side, we got quite a lot of bottles of Greyfield there, but I do have 13,000 of them. I'm not sure where I'm keeping them. Okay, well let's go back on the trail of the missing dachshund. What do we have here? We can review the cryptograms. We could return to the Bizarrine correspondence flat to speak to her, but let's review the cryptograms we've cracked. After you successfully crack cryptograms, the combination you've used will be listed below in order for you to review them, if you wish. Oh, okay, can I decrypt the half-burned missive with the broken stiletto now? If I take the... Let's go with the broken stiletto again, and hope that this doesn't end with me being stabbed. Again. Let's decrypt the half-burned missive. The last 2 digits, yes. Yes, this is in fact different. Study chess annotations. After you decrypt these ciphers, a famous match springs to mind. A famous match springs to mind because the ciphers encoded Amp Meichner, Vienna, 1872. But this isn't right. Encrypted moves don't correctly reflect the match, although the result would remain unchanged even with these alterations. You pinpoint the differences. They form another code. When you're up all night scribbling in margins, rummaging through dusty chess manuals, your copper cipher ring clicks through the small hours. We gained another Vienna opening. Something still isn't right. These numbers refuse to add up. It's only when you accidentally spill ink across a chart you've compiled that you realise the gaps between the numbers do add up. Backwards. With the mirror's aid, you decrypt the number for a hotel suite. It's the same hotel in which an ambassador was murdered recently, with a stiletto. Let's just search the suite. The Akaton is a hotel popular with visiting diplomats. Any evidence in the murdered man's room will have been cleared away, but this decrypted suite is actually further down the hall. It's a simple matter to book it yourself. You spend the night dusting for fingerprints, disassembling and reassembling furniture, and taking a fine-toothed comb to the carpet. A meeting happened here. Austrians, Hungarians, 2 or 3 Swiss agents with a taste for Murgatroyd's fungal pudding. All players in the great game. Stuffed in the mattress, you find something that one ambassador must have been unable to retrieve. These are documents for an arms deal. Someone wants to acquire weapons or already has. As you walk through the city, you find yourself surrounded by even more cryptic messages. Someone leaves a white pawn at a table in a tea parlour. An unassuming chimney sweep whistles a tune in 3/4. While an insistent youngster is clamouring for a toy in a shop window. Her world-weary governess absently twirls an umbrella. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Well, let's sit down at the table with the pawn, order the jasmine special, but don't drink the tea that you are served. I'm sorry you don't find our tea to your liking, says the conciliatory waiter. Perhaps something to sweeten the deal? The Murgatroyd's sugarless sugar cubes that you're provided come in a little tin, which has a folded envelope inside. When you open the envelope, you recognise the message it contains. At least, you recognise fragments. This text matches the missive you found in the Bizarrine Correspondence fireplace, but this copy isn't half burned. Something else we can use? We can take a seed from the half-burned missive now. Oh no. Wait, what haven't I done? I'm losing track here. We've done the half-burnt missive with the seed of the biscuit box, the half-burnt missive with the seed of the broken stiletto, the biscuit box with the broken stiletto, so I need to do the biscuit box with the missive? Okay, let's take the seed from the half-burned missive. With the missing fragment, you can finally piece the text together. When you align the fragment with the missive's burnt edges, they don't perfectly match. Considering they are two different documents, despite being the same, this isn't unexpected. The gaps reveal that certain symbols, which must have been inscribed on the missive, ignited to burn the paper along with the pattern. You can't determine what those symbols were since they're now ash. After numerous substitutions and transpositions, however, you managed to extract the seed, which means you've analysed the original text in full and the symbols were written later. Okay, and then let's use the biscuit box. Okay. Wear black shoes to the theatre. With white socks, tie your shoelaces into 9 Kensington knots. They're performing The Sailor's Wife at the Anti-Massar again. But you're not here for the play. You're here to sit in the 9th seat in the 9th row and to cross one foot over one knee, allowing a dignified dandy beside you to count the 9 Kensington knots. He clutches his heart. I've never seen such a travesty, and I've seen hell's trimeans. Here, you must visit my tailor. Hands you a card. Ask to be forgiven. I can't forgive you, but my tailor is a better man. His tailor has a shop in the bizarre side streets. His tailor also has a very long nose, which he looks down when you walk into the shop. You can't tell which element in your ensemble disagrees with the judgmental tailor the most. His eyes seem to scan everything, from your head to your toes, with comprehensive disdain. Well, let's ask to be forgiven. The judgmental tailor reaches a rather different judgment when he hears this. You don't remember what happens after you're ushered into the back through a curtain. You don't even remember the tailor's address. There's a purplish mist over your memory. There's also this new coat hanging in your closet, soft as lambskin, warm as fox fur, durable enough to withstand a trip to the polls. These gloves, trousers and boots are new as well, all lined with the same sweltering leather, all too heavy to wear in this city's climate. They have a tag attached, indicating that they've been manufactured according to specifications from the Sub-Alpine Club. Interesting. What do we have left here? Half-burn missive with the stiletto? Strike the ring with the blade. Listen to the pitch. Record its frequency. Consult the corresponding paragraph in the first edition fairy tale compendium, referenced by an etching on the blade and printed by a small press in Berlin. Note which words are misspelled. Calibrate the ring settings to match their syllables. Simple. We can analyse the latest hopping post. You now have a very specific reason to count vowels in the slug racing column. Shroom hopping hogs, the front page. As usual. You have to search at the back to find any coverage for the Pulmontia Memorial Derby. Today's column is mercifully short, which allows you to tabulate the vowels without straining your eyes too terribly. Another number, another link in the cryptographic chain, another lead to count more vowels in a different article, and commas this time too, and lowercase letters. You flip the article in question and are confronted with a 10-page additional about the ideal widow with which to manufacture cricket bats. Perhaps you'd best get the eye drops after all. From the Hopping Post to the unexpurged London Gazette to a little blue book about table manners, you scour publications, cracking codes. At an hour extracted from a help wanted advertisement, you sit down on a bench outside an address assembled from ciphers in 2 separate gossip columns. An inconspicuous gentleman is sitting on the bench reading a newspaper himself. The tattoo on his wrist is less inconspicuous. Well, let's make a comment about the weather. His ears perk up when you mention not this week's forecast, last week's. Indeed, more glimfall, he replies. Whenever it rains. He waits for you to complete the proverb. It sparkles. Without further comment, he sets his newspaper aside, consults his pocket watch, and rises to wander away. However, he catches himself, turns back, and does in fact make a comment. F.F. Gerbrand Superior Laudanum. Good for a good night's rest. He hands you a bottle. This isn't business. Your eyes are just so bloodshot that I had to say something. God damn it. The newspaper he left is the New Frey Press. One article is circled in blue ink. It's a restaurant review by the Bizarrine correspondent. Should we go speak to her? So we've done the half-burnt missive with the seed of the biscuit box, the half-burnt missive with the seed of the broken stiletto, the biscuit box with the seed of the half-burnt missive, and the biscuit box with the seed of the broken stiletto. And then we've decrypted the broken stiletto with the seed from the half-burnt missive box. I'm definitely missing one here, aren't I? The broken stiletto with the seed of the biscuit box? That's the sugar. We can continue our investigation on foot. These numbers are coordinates. You could find them somewhere in London. Out Street, Blackfinger Street, Flowerdene Market. Now that you've realised the coordinates are coordinates, all it takes is a leisurely afternoon stroll to find the decrypted address, which happens to be a dead-end alley. But with another click, the copper cipher ring shifts the numbers again. They're not only coordinates, they represent cobbles too. You turn over the loose cobble 10 paces from the alley's entrance and retrieve a key to a condemned office around the corner. Despite the building's vacancy, Neddy men are patrolling the corridors. You slip past them. Motes hang in midair. You can't help but shiver as you creep through the drafty halls. The building is still and silent, which makes the argument coming through the closed door reverberate even louder. One voice is high-pitched and irritable. 2 others are deep, gravelly, with a rumble like an avalanche. If an avalanche could sound both sardonic and contrite. I mean, we can either eavesdrop from the outside. You can't help it if your ear just happens to be pressed against the door. Or we can walk right into the argument, avoid confrontation like a common coward with a sense of self-preservation. You think not. Let's walk right in. Jasper and Frank wheel around. Mr. Spices looks up from a desk, sniffing and wiping its nose with a powder-stained sleeve. Oh no.
Wonderful,
snarls the master.
as if I don't have enough on my plate.
We'll see ourselves out, whispers Frank, elbowing Jasper.
You won't go anywhere until I say. To come in here making demands upon me, I could crush you both into pebbles.
And lovely pebbles we make too, replies Jasper. But we all know what it means to have money, don't we? And we know who has the most. That's where we take our orders. I wonder how many pebbles I'd make, muses Frank, as they leave the office. Around the room, filing cabinets are pulled apart, ransacked. Mr. Spice's can barely fit in the cramped space. Its shoulders are hunched near the ceiling. Its hood is bent over the desk, where colourful powders, Pelican, Cosmogon, Apocean, have been heaped.
How dare they treat me with such disrespect?
Snivels Mr. Spices.
Nobody can tell me what to do. I don't care who those clay men represent.
Well, let's listen to the master complain. It seems unusually garrulous, which may be related to what's on the desk.
And I was having such a lovely day. But just because one little factory blows up, apparently I'm not allowed to celebrate my latest acquisition.
An elongated talon roves over the desk, scooping samples. Another talon probes inside the master's robe. Vials and pills spill out onto the floor, bouncing and scattering everywhere.
Apparently,
Mr. Spices continues,
I'm unfit to conduct my own affairs. Preposterous. I have very good reasons to keeping this site quarantined, and I know how to interrogate a trespasser. That's your cue to explain yourself before I decide. I don't care about explanations.
Uh-oh.
Are you going to explain yourself, or am I going to pulp you into paste?
Asks the master. So we have three options. We can tell the truth about how you got here. Espionage, decrypted messages, dachshunds, reveal everything you know. Or we can avoid answering the question directly. Dilute the truth with vagueness. Withhold information you don't want to share. Or we can refuse to respond. Sometimes no answer is the best answer. Let's tell the truth.
How illuminating,
Says Mr. Spice.
If everyone knew their place as well as you, my life would be much more agreeable.
It finally extracts an enormous glass syringe from one pocket. A shudder travels through its whole body as it drops emerald liquid into an eyeball. Smoke rises from its cornea, and the master hisses with delight. Then it says,
Take the trespasser away.
Neddy men grab you from behind. They haul you to the street. Only now, when they throw you outside, do you realize the office is attached to a much larger building. Murgatroyd's Sugarless Sugar Factory. And with that, I think that's a perfect time to end this episode. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.